Hey there, Saguto golfers. Tom Saguto here, and I am with a special guest, one of my awesome junior students who is in the golf school. He's a complete beginner. We're going to do a little lesson today for beginners to show you how you should learn the golf swing when you're starting out. This is Joey, and he is awesome. Joey, tell us a little bit about your golf game so far.
Yeah, so I basically have zero experience. I went to a small middle school camp when I was younger, and I really haven't had anything else besides Tom Golf School, so we're just trying it out and we're gonna see the results.
Yeah, so Joey's gonna hit a couple shots for us here, just demonstrating what he's done in a couple of months and just a few weeks working through the golf school so far. He's got a really good swinging motion. He turns his shoulders in a circle, and he doesn't shift a whole lot off of the golf ball, so this helps him have one point of contact. His arms are also straight and extended on the way through. This helps him preserve power and keep that same point of contact. Beautiful. That sounds crispy. So for the beginner golfer out there, if you want to have one same point of contact, we've got to do a couple of different things in the swing. First of all, when you swing the club back, you need to turn your shoulders in a circle. If we start shifting, for example, if he was to shift his weight off the ball like that, he's now got to shift back to the ball to hit it. And this is one of the biggest things I see amateur golfers struggle with. It's better to get off to a solid start with a really good foundation in these fundamentals than to have a habit that you've got to fix. So Joey's already starting off with one point of contact. When you turn your shoulders, he brings his left shoulder down. This helps the shoulders turn in a circle. And his weight is still centered. It's forward, but he's keeping his weight and his body over the golf ball. This helps him have one contact point. Go ahead and hit another one for me, Joey. Beautiful. Oh, that was crispy, man. You can't fake that smile. The second thing that's really important for beginner golfers to understand is when you want to have one point of contact, I'm talking about really crispy contact, where we hit the ball first, we take a divot in front of it. You should never be afraid to do that. The left arm is staying straight, the lead arm. I want you to imagine a giant circle around Joey. So you got a circle around his shoulders here and a circle where the club travels. Go ahead and take the club back to the top. The club's tracing the circle on the way back, and then just kind of bring it into impact. And it traces a circle on the way through, and then when he goes through the finish, it continues on that same circle and his arm stays straight. If the lead arm stays straight, you don't have many variables. You pretty much are going to return the club to the same spot you started right here. So arm stays straight here, he goes to the top, he keeps the arm straight, no breaking down of that arm. And I'm not talking about locking the arm, but it's not going to be tense or locked, it's going to be relaxed, but it's straight. That's the most important part. So that way when he comes back to the ball, it's still straight, same point of contact, and he extends his arm through, preserves power, and gives him more swing speed on the way through. So he's not losing power in the process. It's a really simple way to hit the golf ball. Golf swing is all about eliminating variables. The less work you got to do, the easier it is. Go ahead and hit a couple more, Joey. We'll talk a little bit about his downswing coming up here and what enables him to get more power on the way through. So far we've talked about the shoulders turning in a circle, which he does a fantastic job, and keeping the left arm, the lead arm, straight. Gives him one point of contact. Joey, what are you thinking on your downswing? Just curious.
Just when I go through the ball, just have the club head just go straight through the ball.
Kind of like you're sending the club to the target?
Like a video I saw on your YouTube, you said kind of just go like this with your hands and have that clap. Just go down and kind of just clap that ball.
That's a really good thought. Joey brings up an excellent point here. When you're a beginner starting out, it's common to see people throw away the power on the downswing like this, kind of like chopping wood, axe chopping, and it's powerless effort. Your energy has to be directed into the golf ball, kind of like he was demonstrating there, like this, into the golf ball and sending the energy to the target. And so a fantastic drill I recommend for all beginner golfers to hit the ball solid when you first start is to actually just take the club back without doing anything with your wrists, just straight arms here, and keep the arms going straight on the way through like this. And what that does is it tells the club to go through the golf ball into the target instead of chopping and throwing away all your power. This is what a lot of golfers struggle with today, but you're starting off on the right foot, you're never going to have this problem. So Joey, go ahead and demonstrate a few straight arm shots. They're like really powerful chip shots. Good. All he's going to focus on here is hitting ball first, sending energy to the target. Everything's going to the target, not down to the ground. Good. You can actually hear the ball first contact. One thing you got to make sure when you do this drill, your hands have to be ahead of the ball at impact. Yes. Now on this one, Joey, just so I can show the audience what I mean by hands being forward at impact, go ahead and set up to it. When he comes into impact, if he was to throw away his power and do an ice cream scoop like this, he would hit behind the ball. So the club head would end up being ahead of the hands. That's going to cause you to hit behind the ball, hit thin shots, top the ball, those annoying things we never want to see again. If he wants to hit it clean, when he gets into impact, the hands have to lead the club head. And that's why this drill is so good. It not only gives him 1 point of contact and gives him power to the target, but it helps him feel what he needs to do to create good impact, which is hands being ahead of the golf ball at impact. Go ahead and hit a couple more just like that. Some crispy ones.
The one like this?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, that'd be perfect. Good. Good. So he hit that last shot a little bit thin, and I just want to help ingrain more of the proper habits. So when he's hitting the golf ball, the hands need to be ahead of the club at impact, but he also needs to focus on hitting down slightly into the ball. So we're not going to scoop up. And it's a challenge because a lot of times we think we have to lift the ball up in the air to hit it in the air. But in reality, we need to hit down on the ball, take a divot, and that's where that crispy, buttery impact feeling comes from. I'm just going to hit this one for you, Joey. All you got to do is be present, and we're going to focus on this feeling right there. And so what you get is the ball first, and you start scraping the grass in front of the ball, maybe taking a divot, ideally taking a divot. We'll do another one. Go ahead and set up to it, get comfortable. All right, good. Now I'm just pushing his hands forward a little bit at setup, and we're going to keep the hands forward at impact. Oh. What I like to do with beginners is always build everything around impact. Because if you don't get this feeling early on, it's a lot tougher to train. I train this first, and then get everything else for you. Build crispy chicken nuggets here first, and then you can work on the whole enchilada. I'm making him hungry. He's hungry. I'm gonna do one more with Joey here, then I'm gonna let him hit some shots, doing this exact feeling right here. So hands a little bit forward. We're gonna focus on driving down and through the golf ball to the target, right there. So what does that feel like to you?
It feels like I'm actually hitting kind of in front of the ball a little bit with that divot.
Almost like your contact point's more in front of the ball than...
Yeah, that's more like it.
So that's a good point. We're actually trying to hit through the ball, and taking that divot on the front side of the ball is why he's feeling like I moved his contact point forward. So go ahead and hit a shot where you get that same feeling. Oh, how'd that feel?
Good.
Really good. That looked beautiful. He's gonna be on tour in like 2 weeks. So we've covered 3 awesome ways to have solid contact and a great place for you to start as a beginner golfer. The last thing I want to cover is practice, how you should approach practice, and more so the mental side of things. Because golf is a complex motion, you're coordinating a lot of pieces, and it can be information overload and rather overwhelming. But I don't want it to be that way for you. When you start learning the game of golf, there's a lot going on here. It's like learning how to walk. So when Joey hits a bad shot, a lot of times it's tempting to say, what did I do in my swing? I did something wrong. I clearly did something wrong. But looking at Joey here, he has not made a different swing this whole video. Every swing has been exactly the same, very consistent motion. And this comes to my next point, which is when you practice, don't get discouraged. If you hit a bad shot, chalk it up to learning, because you're learning feelings that need to be trained. Joey, all he has to do is repeat, repeat, repeat. Perfect practice will make perfect for him. And with some time, he's going to find himself hitting the ball really solid because he's building up proper impact habits. So the best advice I could give you as a beginner golfer learning the golf swing is to be consistent and don't try and change your swing every single time you hit a bad shot. Stick with the basics here. Don't overdo and try and jump into too many swing thoughts, because you need to learn impact proper impact habits, when practiced often, are going to build up your entire golf swing for the rest of your life. And it's going to be awesome. It's exciting. And Joey, what would you say, like, when you hit a bad shot, what usually goes through your mind?
I'm just trying to figure out like where I went wrong in my swing. If my weight's too far back or I didn't put my shoulder down enough.
Okay, so whenever he hits a bad shot, he goes back to those three things that I just mentioned earlier. Really turning the shoulders in a circle, his weight's not being forward, so he puts his weight more forward. He goes back to the same concrete things. He doesn't start saying, well, I need to start doing this with my wrists, and I need to start moving this way, and you don't have to do all that. He goes back to the concrete things that he's working on because he's new. He's new to golf. You're new. You're a new samurai warrior. He's a newbie. So don't get discouraged when you start hitting bad shots. Stick true to the fundamentals that we talked about in this video. You will hit some really crispy ones. And the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. It's a fully new motion. Joey, thanks again for being a part of the episode today. You're doing a fantastic job swinging the club like a boss. Is there anything you want to tell the fellow Saguto golfers out there? Anything you want to share about your experience?
Yeah, well, the biggest thing, if you want to get your golf game good, subscribe to SagutoGolf and go into his online school, because that's the best thing I could have done. Because now I'm actually excited to go on the course again. I mean, I used to go out with my friends and I used to just score 110s, but now I can go into the high 80s, low 80s, and it's great.
That's insane.
Yeah.
And he's only been doing this for like, what, 2 or 3 months? You did the YouTube videos like 4 months ago. The school started maybe a month ago. And so he's progressed a ton in a short period of time. And it's because we worked on these same fundamentals. How much have you really been working on, have you really just been working on those little 3 things for the first few months?
Yeah, just those, like I saw a couple of videos of yours with definitely the shoulder turn and the weight on the left foot more, like 60-40. And those are the biggest things that help my swing.
Right. And those are big things. So building everything around contact, doing a phenomenal job. Thank you for watching. And if you want to be like Joey, check out my website, SagutoGolf. You'll progress a whole lot faster than on YouTube because it's a structured learning program designed to take you from foundation to finish. And Joey, go ahead and hit a couple for us. Y'all have an awesome week. I will see you in a future episode.